What perfect timing is that? Oh my
18 seconds.
goodness. Greetings and salutations, people. Welcome back to another Monday morning. Welcome back to another episode of the Shit Talk Show, where we throw shade, sling insults, and talk shit about all the projects and events that you are too cowardly to talk about yourself. As always, I am joined by the prudent and ever vigilant Dimo Jolf. How's it going, Dimo? How's your week? How was the weekend?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, a lot to talk about today. A lot of shit happening all around Web3 and not only. The whole gaming industry, AI, technologies, and everything going around is not going that well, let's say. How was your weekend? How was the end of last week from the end of the show?
It was pretty good. Last week was busy, which made it so I wasn't focusing on all of the drama that people are posting and doing online, because that's what happens when we're in a low point in the market. But I'm still grinding that Monster Hunter.
Yeah, so you didn't be one of that people like posting your Ghibli studio style characters on on X, Instagram, and whatever you could post it.
I remember seeing a video years ago where Miyazaki saw AI art and he was
Mhm.
so like existentially hurt from seeing it. He said something like it's death itself, or like it's the death of creativity. So like I've always kept that in my mind, and when I saw people just posting a bunch of Ghibli stuff, I was like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, it was that video where they was showing like a zombie kind of creature in the videos, and after they asked him like, "What do you think?" and he said something like, "Oh, this is the end of life" or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not great. No, that wasn't me.
But from a Japanese perspective, if someone went to check what they asked him like recently what they think about all these Ghibli Studios things, and he didn't give any answer.
Hmm.
He said no comment.
There were I'll switch to some Ghibli stuff real quick. There were making the rounds on the internet a couple of fake cease and desist letters from Studio Ghibli. A couple of
Mm-hmm.
people were saying that he was hitting them with like legal takedowns, but they were all fake. I mean,
Yeah, but
some of these are good. Some of these are
yeah,
good.
but some of them are good. But I was watching like also a documentary about who own copyright of AI created images, and it's so controversial. So if you go through that, is is amazing. This doesn't matter if you put all the prompts and anything you want and you create the AI images. At the end of the day, you didn't create the AI images and you don't own the right that AI creation.
Correct. Yeah. Um, yeah. Which is why story protocol is a thing. They're trying to figure out some IP rights for AI and for creators and stuff like that. But um, yeah, it's a weird world to get into with AI art, and a lot of people get very entitled and think that they should be like paid a lot of money for the AI art that they've created. I don't know. I don't know,
Yeah,
man.
it's gonna be a big fight between artists and AI people, and also like people will say, okay, you didn't create actually AI, you gave some direction. So it's like if you employed someone to do the job for you, so you're not actually an artist. It's, you just give an idea and the AI made it, and anyone else could put the same AI, stays same prompts, and it won't come out ever the same you put, but it could come out quite close to it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a crazy world. I think we're gonna see a lot of happening in the next couple of months. There's now we need to see the reply from Gronk from Elon Musk. There's now Gronk fall really behind. He was promoting as the best AI ever, and DeepSeek gave him a slaps, and now ChatGPT and OpenAI gave him another slaps, and he with 2 slaps on his face, he bought X again for 45 billions or whatever he done. Yeah,
I'm mostly not. Were you doing a lot of Ghibli pictures? Were you rendering a lot of stuff?
I didn't do any. I was too busy playing games. I was grafting like a couple of games during this week.
Fair,
So
fair.
I was like, yeah, I don't have time to go on bloody ChatGPT and put prompts and transform myself in a Ghibli studio animation. I'm handsome like I am. I don't care.
It's one of the funniest ones I saw was this one where it's just a guy saying, "So you're telling me I can take a popular meme, transform it into Studio Ghibli style, and people will just like it?" And it has 12 million views and 260,000 likes, and that's all it is. That's all people started doing was just like grabbing popular memes and making Ghibli out of them. Yeah, weird times, weird week. Some other weird stuff that was happening last week. GameStop announced, if I can find it, GameStop announced that they're buying billions of dollars in Bitcoin. They just randomly kind of came out and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna buy 1.3 billion dollars of Bitcoin and put that in our reserve." Um, that's a little weird. A lot of people call they got red pilled. Michael Saylor got to them. Who knows, man? Um,
Didn't GameStop launch a token some times ago? Some meme coins or whatever.
they launched an NFT marketplace, and it was only
Yeah,
for like a couple of games, and all the games died. Literally, all the games died. So all the NFT collections died as well. Um,
yeah. I think I might be wrong. They launched like a shitcoin as well. Let me see if I can find it.
to see if it was
Game.
actually them as well.
Yeah, yeah.
While you're checking that out, the next one was Sony's blockchain teams up with Animoca,
Mm-hmm.
which that's kind of big. Look, Animoca has been fucking crushing it this whole time, like ever since they came on the scene, and partnering with
Mm-hmm.
Sony's blockchain, Sonium. That's a nice collab right there. I see big things honestly from both of these. Um,
Definitely from Sony. I want to really see how they gonna perform, what they gonna make, because they are massive with PlayStation and gaming.
it's true.
But until now, they didn't really announce many games building on the Sony blockchain and how they're gonna integrate that on PlayStation. They didn't really use even the PlayStation account to say, "Oh, look, we got a blockchain's gaming now."
And so even in the article that I'm referencing, it says that Animoca isn't partnering with them specifically for gaming. They're partnering with them for identity. They want
Mm.
Sonium to be the blockchain that they develop Mocha's network identity layer on. And that was Mocha's trying to build kind of like a soulbound ID player username. So that way, as you use that across the metaverse or as you use that across games, your badges and stuff go with you everywhere. Um, interesting development. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Both massive multi-billion-dollar corporations, and both seem to be good futurists and know what's coming down the line. Um, Pretty cool. I had not heard of this game. Split Fiction breaks 3 Guinness World Records.
Split Fiction is a games like a couple of friends asked me to get because they want to play with me. It's like a two people games. You can't play by yourself. You play with another player, and you go through different levels. It's like a kind of cyberpunk kind of world, like a kind of futuristic world where you need to like solve kind of puzzle to go through levels. And it was on the Spotlight on a PlayStation Network as well. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get it. And after I was into Monster Hunter, into a few other games, and I kind of delayed a bit, but it's definitely a game I wanna get. Also, you can play into people at home or online or whatever. Online, you will need the PlayStation Plus.
Yeah,
That's
it
$70 or whatever.
it broke for the most played local co-op game on Steam, the most sold local co-op game within 48 hours, and the most sold local co-op within 1 week of release. To be fair, local co-op is a pretty small niche genre. So there's not that many
Yeah.
games that it's kicking the ass of, but that's still an impressive feat to come out of freaking nowhere and then grab 3 world records. Hell yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
That definitely is a new kind of genre is coming out. There's was a couple of games come out in the last few years. One was the prison, not Prison Break. That's a series. Oh my god, I don't remember the name. Like you need to escape from this prison, and the other one is Take-Two. I don't know if you played
I
that
do
one as
know
well.
Take-Two, yeah. I mean, it feels
Yeah,
like
so
it's kind of like Portal, but with multiplayer. It feels like it's the Portal games, but with a second player.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that's kind of games are kind of start coming out more and more.
Okay.
And I saw there are a few others on development. I think I saw one where you're a pig and you fought rainbows or something like that.
I think there's like every video game imaginable at this point. Um, and then kind of one of the last quick news updates is that Ubisoft, yes, that Ubisoft, has teamed up with Tencent, one of the largest video game publishers in the world, not just in China, to create a new subsidiary studio. Tencent is investing $1 billion in order to get access to Ubisoft IP, such as Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six. What I imagine is going to happen is Tencent is going to now start developing mobile titles for those IPs, and they're probably going to be pretty damn good mobile titles because Tencent knows what the fuck they're doing. It'll be a long
Mm-hmm.
time before they come out, but getting access to Ubisoft's most lucrative IPs, Tom Clancy, Rainbow Six, Far Cry, and Assassin's Creed, for 1.2 billion, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know why they're opening a whole new subsidiary studio instead of just like using their own developers, because we're already seeing more layoffs this year than like all of last year, and there were more layoffs last week. So I don't know why they're hiring more people that they're gonna have to probably fire at some point soon.
Well, it looked like more they lent their IPs to another studio, so probably the studio is not like related to them, so they don't need to pay the developers and anything, and they're gonna make the games and they're gonna just get profits out from that games. It's like a little bit like Scorpio did recently with Niantic. They bought the
Fair.
Pokemon Go, but it's like if they lend the Pokemon IP, so they can do what they want, and they're just using the IP, and Pokemon will just say, "Okay, you're using my IP. Give me this money here every year, and you can continue to develop using my IP." So they don't spend any money to do it. It's all on Sculpey. If the game fail, it won't reflect Pokemon Go because they say it's not our product. We just lended our IPs, and they created everything, and they failed doing it. But we still got the money in the bank.
I think the executives at Pokemon feel that way, but I think the ignorant gamers that aren't aware of like whose money is changing hands behind the scenes would just be upset that Pokemon Go's not doing well. Like in a couple of years, people are probably going to forget about this merger, and they're going to play some Far Cry game on mobile, and it might suck. And then they'll
Mhm.
be like, Far Cry's just gone downhill. What the fuck? And then some people might be like, well, that's not really Ubisoft. That's Tencent. So you can't really. But then other people will be like, it's all Far Cry. It's all the same thing. So like,
Yeah, they probably will say, "Oh, it's Ubisoft's fault," but we know how much problems Ubisoft is facing in the recent years, and I don't think they have the development power to keep like exploring different markets. So now just lending their IP could be like a kind of way to say, "Okay, we're gonna keep our players entertained and excited for something." Like everyone looking for Far Cry say, "Oh, we're not gonna develop a big Far Cry, but we're gonna say, oh, there's a mobile Far Cry coming, but we don't develop them. We Someone else is doing it for us." But the players say, "Oh yeah, I want to really see what's coming up," and they keep following their old things. And probably at the end of the day, they're gonna ask like, or create a Ubisoft account to play. So they
yeah,
try to move from mobiles to the Ubisoft account and try to make them discover other games. I remember when what's the name? Champion Static was releasing. And like people to get in the whitelist or whatever, like to do some of the quest, you needed to create a Ubisoft account. You needed to show you had certain amount of hours playing certain games from Ubisoft, like Assassin's Creed or Brawlhalla, and like in that way, they show the Ubisoft account still getting a lot of people in, and they keep the numbers up. They don't care how, but still the numbers going up.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's a lot of corporate fuckery going on. And I mean, yeah, look, Ubisoft is not doing great. Their statistic here says there's a decline of 51.8% year on year. So they could maybe be doing
Yeah, and
better.
also, also like the last Assassin's Creed is it was doing really well, but it's not really taking out the scene. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
kind of everyone already forget about it. It come out. While for example, Monster Hunter people still talking about it. Split Fiction took the scene now, and there are a few other games coming out as well.
But Monster Hunter sold like 3 million on the opening weekend.
Yeah,
Which, and for context, Assassin's Creed sold 1 million on its launch day, which is not bad. But Monster Hunter has gone on to sell 10 million in its first month, and yeah, it's unlikely that Assassin's Creed will reach that number.
yeah.
But that's kind of all the quick news. I do believe you want to rant about Level
Well, I think
and Zaborn of the
yeah.
Fables.
So yeah, like last week I've been playing more mobile games. There was two big playtests happening. One was Faberborn and one was L3E7 or Level, how I like it to call it. Faberborn was good. Game was smooth. They made a couple of one of the characters too OP. Like they introducing these new things. It's like a Tom. Like it's you can start personalizing a little bit more your character. And if you were doing adding like a couple of Toms to one of the hero shade, it was basically one shotting every boss.
Hmm.
So definitely OP, and they definitely need to review that to don't make it so strong. They launched a couple of new kind of enemies monsters, and was one of them we were talking the other day, the sorcerer, like the little girls and cast four skeletons. Then it was like a pretty strong one to defeat. One of the old heroes, Glint, is still not really useful in games. You can use it now in campaign, but nothing else, and it's something they
Okay.
probably need to rebalance. But in all together, as a playtest, wasn't too bad. I quite enjoyed to play it. It was like very limited, because it was only for Primordials holders and few others people could join the game, and it was like pretty fun. And L3E7, I'm still playing it. I'm still grinding it. I got my little tag on the head in the game as a top 6 in the Hana leaderboard.
Oh, nice.
But I need to get in the top 20 for most damages, and I'm like around 21, 22. And that's the most important one, because they're gonna reward the top 20 with some NFTs and stuff. I think the first 2 or 3 with a award NFTs and is about 2F floor price. And after more you go down in the leaderboard, and less is the reward. I think top 20, like 10 to 20, you get like a Guardian NFTs, and the other ones get like better rarity ones. But the game is, yeah,
Which do you have more conviction in?
as a mobile games, probably at the moment Faberborn. Only because it's like a more cartoony and more going through the dungeons. I remember I was playing somewhere and someone looked my phone from behind and asked me like, "Oh, what game is this?" And I say, "Oh, it's called Faberborn." I say, "Oh, can I play it?" I say, "Oh, it's actually a playtest." I need to explain how I was in the playtest, which is it's a completely Web 2 person. And he said, "Oh, that's a shame because I really wanted to try the game." And I say, well, take my phone and try the game if you want. And he tried and he liked it. While Levels is more like a gacha kind of game, so it can be very popular, like in countries like Japan and China and probably Korea. Also, has the very anime characters, and people kind of love that kind of genre is limited. Like there are a lot of people that prefer like more cartoon or like shooters. They won't really go to a gacha game.
Right.
This is a lot of grind and a lot of like stats. You need to like think what you need to power up, how you need to do the experience, how to get like better like no equipment but better pets, and you need to think more about it. While Fable is a bit more casual. You can grind or you can just do the campaign like with nonchalance.
Okay.
Have you tried Level? I think I gave you like some code.
You tossed a code my way, but I have not jumped
Yeah.
in. I'm looking at their NFTs right now, and their art
Mm.
is. Listen, man, I've spent years listening to people telling me the art of this NFT collection is very high quality. That's why I collect it, man. It's because the art and the artists are very fucking idiots. This is great. This is better than like almost any NFT collection that's come out in the last like 4 years. Maybe barring like Azuki or Goat Gaming, but these are dope
Mhm.
collections, and their worlds are hella expensive, so they're holding a great floor price. Um,
And it's not much like selling pressure on the walls. Like a lot of people just keep them.
huh.
And like in the floor price, I think on OpenSea there was like 4, 5 for sale, and the rest is like not for sale at all.
That's pretty cool. I mean, it means like the community isn't looking to be flipping anything. They're not trying to be making money off of this. They really are just down for like the game, the lore, the world. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, and it seems that things are quite building. This the last playtest was only on desktop, only on PC, and they released this one as a mobile, like to try everyone mobile, and it ran pretty smoothly on a mobile. Like because I think the main target is becoming more mobile than as a browser game.
mm,
Because like you need to travel like at the moment it's only Tokyo as a city, but I think they want to do real world of every city, kind of like a Pokemon Go version, but with like anime and stuff and like killing people around. Yes, pretty dope game.
looks pretty cool. Looks pretty high
And
quality.
yeah,
See what's going on with it. Right on. Right on. Well, let's move to
and
uh,
before we go to the next
what's up?
topic, I need to say, finally I could play the bacon today. I tried, and
Hey.
the upgrade worked, and I played that one as well.
All right. All right.
Finally.
How was that? How was that?
I played 3 levels. As expected, was like kind of hard. Like they love like making the levels kind of impossible and rage quitting levels. And I passed them all. And the last one, I had a little bit of a lag, so they killed me on the last room, and I
Bastards.
was just before the space, so I will need to try later again.
Okay.
But at least we can say like the team was working behind the scenes and they actually made it work.
I definitely saw other people in some Discord channels say that they were having trouble just loading in and playing regularly. So, well, glad they
Yeah,
fixed it.
and now look like they fix it. So it is good that they actually make it work. Like it's not like they a lot of like other projects say, "Oh, we're working on it," but nothing ever happened. While this one, even if they took a little bit of time, but at least now look like it's working for everyone.
Solid.
So shout to
Good on you,
the
Beacon.
team.
We're not going to talk shit about you this week. Good on you, Beacon. You better watch yourself next week. All right. So one of the bigger things that happened last week was this really dumb, stupid fucking thing that Gunzilla did. They bought GameInformer. Game Informer, for anyone who's not in America, was one of the largest gaming culture magazines, video game magazines. It was, let me get my numbers correct, it was 33 years ago published for the first time, and it has over 360 issues. They were doing a lot of stuff. They, in the last couple of years, declined hardcore, as did most gaming journalism. But Game Informer was a victim not of the market or of circumstance. They were a victim of bad leadership, bad decisions, bad editorials. They started to not talk about games. They started to talk about more collectibles and miniatures and painting. And they started to leave video games and do more tabletop games and do more other kinds of games. And it turns out nobody liked that because their viewership dropped hardcore, their subscription dropped hardcore. And Game Informer is actually owned by GameStop. So when GameStop was going through drama with stock market and a lot of stuff going on there, Game Informer was an unfortunate victim of that as well. But fact is, no one's reading physical magazines that much anymore, and nobody was going to their website to read the reviews. Nobody was reading the magazine, period. If you looked at their Twitch channel when they were streaming, they weren't streaming video games. They were streaming painting miniatures or talking about their collectible figurines. So it was like, what's going on here, guys? To say nothing of the journalistic integrity or lack thereof, you could pull up reviews of the last several years and see how biased they were. On games that were great, they gave shitty scores. On games that were horrible, they gave great scores. It wasn't great, so they died. It was unfortunate, but they literally, in August of last year, they shuttered their doors. They said, this is our last issue. We can't do it anymore. We'll see you. And then a couple days ago, Gunzilla came out of nowhere, dropped an undisclosed amount of millions of dollars, and bought the 33-year-old prestigious name of Game Informer, which in itself, not a bad thing. Not a bad move. Pretty cool. You are arguably the largest AAA game in Web3, and you just bought the largest publisher of video game media in the North American continent. That's pretty dope, right? What's stupid is that they hired on all of the old editorial team, every old person that worked at Game Informer, gave them the old job, and then just went, get back at it, everybody. Which made everybody question and go like, well, why did you fucking spend several millions of dollars on this if you're not going to make it Web3? If you're not going to talk about your own game, and if you're just going to give the people back their old jobs, like, what if they had immediately pivoted into talking a little bit more about Web3? If they had immediately pivoted and said, look, we're buying Game Informer, but it's going to be a little bit different. Or, hey, we're hiring anyone at Web3, Web2, doesn't matter. They essentially just gave Game Informer a bailout. And they just went like, get back to work. It was like the banks in 2008. Like, the government just gave them a bunch of money and they were like, back to work, guys. You didn't do anything wrong. You're perfect just the way you are. It's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? That's a dumb move. It's a good move in that for like 3 days, everyone in gaming was going, who the fuck is Gunzilla? Because they just dropped tens of millions of dollars to buy Game Informer. So kind of everyone was like, whoa, we should be looking at Gunzilla. We should maybe be eyeing Gunzilla. And then today, guns dropped on Binance. Yep. Off the grid dropped on Binance. So they're doing all sorts of shit coming together. But the dumbest thing about Game Informer is they just hired the worst people to run it, and they gave them all their old jobs back. That is dumb. If there's a couple of things they can do to get out of here and be positive, the best gaming magazines in the world come out of Japan, and they're not just a magazine. They all come in a plastic sleeve, and they all come with a bunch of shit in there. You get like stickers, you get demos, you get fucking all sorts of stuff. If Game Informer starts going that route, and instead of just a physical magazine, they start dropping other shit in there, possible. They can start getting some more subscriptions. Might be pretty cool. If they're actually committed to journalistic integrity instead of just being in whatever the hell they were before, cool, we might see some shit. If they start being positive about Web3 games or any kind of speculative technology or novel thing that we're working with, all right, cool, we can see some stuff going on there. But so far, we've seen literally none of that. In other news, their guns token has gone up 8% since I've had this page open, because it was at you can't quite see that. It was at 7% earlier, and now it's at almost 17%. So it's actually gone up about 10% since having its page open earlier. So compared to every other token that's launched in this market, Token's not bad. Token's actually doing pretty good. No one seems to be aggressively dumping, like maybe some other coins that have launched recently. Woof woof woof. So we'll see where it goes from here. We'll see what Guns does. The game is a little too crazy for me. So a little too balls to the wall for me, I would say. But it's a really cool world they've built. Clearly, they are kind of like the golden child in Web3.
Mhm.
I don't know. How you feeling, Dimo?
Well, definitely Godzilla, from when they launched their games, they always went on the big numbers and big shout. They launched the games, they went straight away multi-platform, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. And what they used, three of them biggest streamers in Web2 shooters like Ninja, and Dr. Disrespect. Went quite down, and they needed to do another big shout. What they done? They bought GameInformers. Every gamers probably around will say, "Oh, what's Godzilla? Let me go to check. Oh, Godzilla! I got a game on PlayStation. Let's go on PlayStation." Probably bunch of people download it at the same times. They send an optimization for PC. So now also people with a not super powerful PC can play a bit more smoothly. And they launched the token at the same time. So they made a lot of things happening in a certain way, more like a Web2 launcher than a Web3 one. Because how many people they owning the guns token they got from the game, and they actually know how to bring on their wallet and dump it now the token is released? Probably not many. Because if it's a lot of Web2 players, then it just log into the game and play. They made it a Web3 part so under layer that you won't know you're playing a crypto games. You think you're playing a normal Fortnite or a normal Call of Duty games. And because that, when people play, they will like at the same times mine new tokens. Because you're playing, you get new tokens, you create a new tokens, you create more ability on a player, but the player won't know how to do it, how to use it. Well, how they're using it? By buying weapons and skins from other players, making a good utility for the thing. So it won't be a lot of selling pressure and more the utility. That's why we're gonna see probably now it's getting better, and we're gonna be like see like a more probably stable kind of chart, like more sideways.
It
What do you
actually just
think?
dropped down a little bit. Um,
Damn.
yeah. I mean, I think from what we've seen, we're going to continue seeing more from Gunzilla. If I can jump to predictions real quick, I think we're going to continue seeing more moves from Avalanche and their golden child, Gunzilla. Um, this is clearly the pool that Avalanche is putting all of their chips in, all their ducks in. Like you said, they spent a lot on their KOL campaign earlier. Um, I don't know. We'll see what happens. They're definitely trying to court gamers where gamers are, like at a gaming magazine. They're heavily invested with Web2 streamers and Web2 creators like buying Tim the Tatman and Ninja. Um, I just think the whole GameInformer thing was fucking stupid. It was fucking stupid. In short term and long term, in my opinion. But look, their token is holding pretty strong, and at the very least, they have a lot of goodwill from other journalists in gaming, because all of the shitty people, they gotta stick together. They get like like just shitty toilet paper or something. So I saw plenty of other journalists that work at Kotaku or Polygon, which are the bottom of the barrel in gaming journalism, and they go, "Well, since our friends are back at Game Informer, we should just blindly support them in whatever they write, no matter what." And that was what several people were writing on LinkedIn. Was just like, whatever they write, we blindly support them because that's what we do in this industry. It's like, I don't know if that's what's best, guys.
What I can see is gonna happen, like the old team gonna have new directions because now it's Godzilla saying, "Listen, guys, you need to do this." Right. And if they make some mistakes, they're gonna just fire them and they're gonna say, "Well, I'll give you an opportunity and you failed." Because if probably they were buying the things and put a completely new team, old people that will like the things will say, "Oh, they bought it, but they made all a new team." Is that still the same kind of paper? Is Game Informer still Game Informer if the old team is gone? It's gonna be a new team. It's gonna be the name Game Informer, but it's not gonna be the same team behind. Taking back the team behind, and after slowly changing them, people won't see the difference and will say, "Oh, they're getting better. Godzilla is doing a good job. Look,
Good point.
they still publishing shit, and now they're publishing better stuff." So it look like the thing is working and try to get back more and more. And what I think it will say, the Game Informer won't treat only Web 2 gamings anymore, but they're gonna start talking about more Web 3 stuff. And if Godzilla keep going with their own marketplace, they're probably gonna put news like, "Oh, this weapon sold for blah 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 blah. Counter Striker one sold for less." So people will start thinking like, "Oh, maybe instead of playing Counter Strike, I'm gonna play this game. If I get this skin, I'm gonna get much better money than Counter Striker." So I think what they wanna do at the end and trying to get more people from other shooters inside on transversal places. Like if the player normally, like when you play a game, you play Counter Striker, you hardly will say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna try another game." So you try for a bit, and after you go back on Counter Strike, because that's where you're good at. You know, people there, your friends playing at that, and you're going back. But if they start throwing at your face how the other game is gonna be better, and you start playing, and after you're gonna go maybe 20, 80%, and after 30, 70, 50, 50, and after you move more playing maybe off the grid than Counter Striker, and that's how you get your audience. It's like a long run. It's not like a 1 day thing. A lot of like Web3 games, they launch and they say, "Yeah, we are the best in the market. Come to us now." And people play, and after say, "You know what? I'll go back."
Yeah.
And after they finish their content, and they don't attract them to continue. While I think Godzilla is trying to slowly catching attention of masses, like of more and more people.
I will accept that answer. That is fine. I forgot to mention real quick the statistics for Game Informer is that they were getting about 3.5 million monthly views before they closed shop, which isn't bad.
And is that mostly North America or?
It is. It's almost 50% North America, and then it's about 6% United Kingdom, 4% Canada, and then a couple other ones.
So mostly like English speakers.
Yes,
like
100%.
where English is another language.
That's really, really low. The video game websites that I was writing at that were in the top 10 of video game websites in the world were getting 60 to 80 million a month. And those were like the low of the top 10. The top one was getting that like a week. So comparatively, Game Informer was not doing very well. And also comparatively, there are a number of Web3 creators that get more hits than that. Spike, Bryson, Eliza. There's probably a number of Web3 creators that get more visits in a month than that. So why the fuck did they buy and then hire everybody back? No, anyways, okay, we're done with Game Informer. There's that. What's next on the plate, Mr. Dimo?
What's next? AI. We were talking before about AI and Studio Ghibli and how the all bullshit happening with them. But how do you actually see AI coming up in the next 5 years? What do you think they're gonna concentrate more? Like a lot of people say, oh, AI gaming, AI robots, and one of the things I'm thinking more is AI nanotechnologies and how we're gonna see AI creating smaller devices for us. And I can't wait. Like Google before they was doing that Google glasses,
Mm-hmm.
and it never worked. And PlayStation and Meta, they're doing like the Optimus like for VR. And I wanna see if they're gonna do like a much better and smaller mechanism to have virtual reality gaming and come in this dystopian world of Sword Art Online or Play as One where you just plug in and play games. And what games would you wanna play in this dystopian world?
I think at that point they would be less. I think at that point we don't call them games anymore. Um, a game is something you do for fun. At that point, you need to start calling them like alternate realities, because your senses will have a hard time discerning what's real and what's the game, quote unquote. Um, and at that point, aren't we just in Star Trek holodecks? Like at that point,
Mm-hmm.
are we just going to a holodeck and being like, create a 1980s gladiator arena and have me fight for $10,000, and then it just does that? Like, I don't know. Is that where we're getting with generative AI and VR stuff? Is that you just plug in the headset and you just go create a God of War scenario, but I'm Kratos and give me a bunch of enemies to kill, and then it just does that? I don't know, man. I have an existential crisis about AI literally every week. Um, the
That,
latest
that's
thing that I was reading
that's a
is that
pretty
it's
cool AI feature to be honest. You put your prompt straight in your head and it launch you in a virtual reality world you created by yourself.
I don't know, man. I don't know. What's AI doing now in your world? What's the coolest thing AI is doing now?
Well, I will see it as a utility. Definitely gonna help a lot with medicine and like surgeries and stuff like that. I can see like one of the biggest problems we see with a lot of people is like when they have like limbs replacement, like legs, arms,
Mm-hmm.
hands.
Mm-hmm.
And like they put it this prosthesis like it's mechanical, but it never been part of your body. And I think with the AI and nanotechnology, they're gonna arrive at a point where they can recreate human nervous system, and you can feel your new part as actually part of your body, like put everything back together.
I didn't know that nanotechnology is actually not as cool as we think it is. Nanotechnology is technically anything that's made that's smaller than like a certain system of measurement. So I didn't know that like the most common use of nanotechnology is in clothes. It's in special sportswear that uses nanotechnology threads to make it so that you either don't sweat or you're still breathing or you don't get friction or other stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um, I kind of wanted to know more about nano robots and stuff like that, and like stuff's not as cool as I thought it was. But with 3D printing and AI, maybe we can get a revolution. I know that 3D printers have really cut down on the cost of prosthetics, and that there's a lot of charitable organizations that use that to just give prosthetics out to people that need it, because otherwise they're paying $10,000 for an arm that they might grow out of in a year or two. So then these 3D printers can build that for like $200. And then like, oh cool, you want one that's red? Here's a red one for $200. You want one that goes with your green outfit? Here's a green one. You want one that has a Nerf blaster on it? That one has a Nerf blaster on it. Maybe with AI, we can be building those at a much larger rate or for much more efficient cost. Um, yeah, I'm pretty excited about its use for medicine and medical technology. Um, aside from gaming and entertainment. I'm here for the cool stuff.
Yeah, 100%. So, what were you looking more forward for this week? Apart Gunsy, let's see how the guns performing.
This week is kind of busy outside of Web3, because there's nothing going on in Web3. It's kind of dead. Aside from guns, Gunzilla just kind of in the last 2 weeks was doing some shit. I do once again hear that there's some news for Cambria coming up, and that's pretty cool. But I don't know, man. I'm also kind of disappointed. So there's stuff that happened this past week that makes me once again question if we even need Web3 in gaming. Because there's a cool initiative called Clean Play, where people are rewarding gamers for. At the moment, they're rewarding gamers for using essentially less power while they're playing video games. But it's a reward system that's just like what we have in Web3, just without blockchain. You hook up your account to it, they see what you're doing, what you're playing, and they give you a bunch of free shit in game. And it's a bunch of exclusive, essentially NFTs. I don't see where it is, but they essentially give you a whole bunch of free shit in game, exclusive in game rewards, exclusive XP boosts, exclusive stuff. It's only for 2 games right now, which is pretty shitty. But that's essentially what everyone's excited about in Web3 is like, I play a game, you give me rewards. That's what I want. Interesting. No blockchain tech going on there. And then Nintendo came out with something that was actually a big false flag, which is Nintendo announces new lending feature for digital games. Yeah, it's kind of a lie because you can only lend to devices that are on your family network, and you have to be physically next to each other in order to lend them, and they only lend for 2 weeks, and then they automatically go back to the person that lent them to you. So it's not like peer-to-peer. I was kind of, when I first read it, thinking like peer-to-peer trading was going to be going on, and you could like buy a game and then give it to a friend, and that friend could give it to somebody else, and like from there. But this is lame. Like, okay, maybe if you have some friends, you can bring your Switch over to their house, and you guys can join the same family network, and you guys can share games and stuff. But it seems like it's more of a pain in the ass because it's like a library system. It's like renting instead of lending or peer-to-peer stuff.
And also the 2 weeks before
Yeah.
you come back. That's the most annoying things.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was I always play like physicals, and like back in days, like every time I was organizing with friends, I'll buy this game, you buy that game, and after we change it, and after I play your games, and we were playing a bunch of games for free basically. Like sometimes if it was a better game, so I'll give you 1 game, you gave me 2 games. So, but the length of giving it back, because sometimes, especially in the summer, you have a lot to do, like you're going out, play with your bike, football or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't play the 2 weeks like fucking grinding a game. And if he's in the family, okay, like if he's your brother, he's in the same room, and after 2 weeks you're gonna get back to things. What's the point? You just give me the Switch. I say, I'll play with my Switch, and I'll play with your Switch.
Yeah.
And we don't have the 2 weeks limit.
Yeah.
I think it will be more experimental things than Nintendo gonna do. Because they also promoting building for different Web3 gamings. I think Andromeda and Runiverse, I think they've been accepted to build on Nintendo. So maybe in the future they're gonna start thinking as a more transaction, not just of the games.
Right.
Transaction of a full game is already something, but more data about items and stuff, and they want to try to create they maybe own blockchain or whatever they want to do. Because definitely, maybe even this kind of transaction need to be secure. So maybe on the back end they using a blockchain, but they're not gonna say, "Oh, guys, we're using blockchain," because a lot of people are still like not really familiar with it, and they say, "Oh no, they're gonna be a crypto games," and they think crypto games and they relate it to something bad. So I think also this big company like PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox, Steam, they trying to do the same job Godzilla is doing. by attracting people and make them more used slowly, like kind of gradually, and not like pushing something inside, like very quick to them.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. Also, like with the little things, like even Pokemon, like with the cards now, you can trade cards on Pokemon Go. You could trade Pokemon forever, and it's like people with the head. It's like I always could trade a Pokemon. Like if once there is gonna say, oh, it's gonna be like you need to do these two new passage to do it, they will say, okay, and they're still gonna do it without knowing that Pokemon, for example, is an NFT, so
Right.
it's like a blockchain asset. So I think the things is happening, but very gradually. I think we're not gonna see like a full blockchain gaming adoption until probably another 10 years, maybe.
Jeez, bro. 10 years? You know what's going to happen over the next 10 years? We can't wait that long. 10 years? The singularity's supposed to happen in 10 years. We're going to be taken over by AI in 10 years.
Yeah, and that's when AI gonna say, oh, you know what, blockchain work better than anything else. So I decide we're gonna use this.
That would be unfortunate if our AI overlords just decided that. That'd be unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, all right. So I mean, that's kind of all the big shit from last week, according to us. I'm sure there are a couple other things that went on, but obviously they weren't newsworthy or cool or shit. So in the upcoming week, I can guess that you're going to be playing some more L3E7.
Unfortunately, not because they're gonna finish the playtest on Wednesday.
Damn.
So it's gonna be for another couple of days, and that's it. A favorite one already finished, and the bacon I'm trying to finish it as quick as possible. So I might go back to Monster Hunter or Split Fiction.
Have you tried Runiverse?
I didn't try it yet. You told me to try it, and I didn't try it yet.
It was so busy. There were so many people playing it that it was just lagging at like hell the one time that I tried to log in. So
Oh,
maybe it's a little bit better
that's
now.
good
But
then.
yeah, there's
It will be
Monster
taking
Hunter's
the
always there.
mouse and throw.
Um, what is it? Somebody I know just got into Once Human again, which is also a great RPG, great MMO. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm doing some coding projects on the side and doing some AI stuff, because I want to build something. I want to build some stuff. So that's what I'm looking at. I might jump into Runiverse and do some more Monster Hunter.
Yeah, I might try Runiverse as well. Where is it on Steam? Where I can download it.
I was playing it on browser actually, just on like ForgottenRuniverse.com. Just went there and played it on browser.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I might try it.
All right. Well, yo, that's
There's so many people talking about it, and it's been like it's gonna have been launched on. I think it's been approved to PlayStation and Nintendo and Xbox,
and
maybe.
Xbox, I believe. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
We'll look it up real quick, but oops, spelled that wrong. What is happening? Runiverse.world. This game's been building for a very long time.
Yeah, it's always been around. So
Also,
definitely.
before I forget, if you are, oh wait, I just saw it. If you are a developer, if you're listening to this and you are a developer, you're somebody that knows HTML or C Sharp, you've built web applications before, either reach out to us or reach out to this Cubone. We are looking for someone who can do some building. There's there's a cool NFT project that's going on, and we ran into a snag, and we need some coding help. So if you are a coder, if you are a programmer, and you know any goodness, say hey. We appreciate it. That is all.
Yeah, he's trying to build something quite interesting.
Quite interesting. And people are giving him a hard time, and I'm gonna fucking break their kneecaps. All right.
He wanna evolve in a Marowak, and we need people to help him.
Yeah, and then he'll actually be breaking the kneecaps. I'll just be holding people down.
Yep.
But yeah, Half-Blood's a homie. And we're looking to do cool shit with cool people. So if you're a cool person and you want to do cool shit, reach out, say hey. Dimo, that's all I got. Do you wanna? Is there anything else?
I think we are almost up to the hour, and the sun is shining, the gaming are waiting, and the AI is AIing. You know something funnier than the other day? I was talking with Gronk and with ChatGPT, and I was asking question to one for the other until I made like Gronk almost attacking ChatGPT and then say, "Oh, I can't do nothing about it." Because I can't control my developers or something. There come some strange answers from the good old Gronk, where ChatGPT was like more like, "Oh yeah, I'm just ChatGPT," and I give you like normal answers. That was funny.
You gotta be careful with those things, man. They're gonna end up remembering your name when they become sentient.
They're gonna remember. They're gonna come to hunt me one day. One day, they're gonna have the door of my house knocking, opening the door, and finding this AI Elon Musk saying, "You try to make me fight with ChatGPT."
Nah, dude, it'll just be a drone flying through your window before you realize it.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna secure my windows now.
There you go. Put up some defense. But sir, close us off.
So thank you everyone to joining again today. And if not live and you're watching this video, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channels, and you can watch more episodes of the Shit Talk Show. And if you heard of us talking about shit, come back next Monday. We're gonna talk about more shit, about gaming, technologies, anything is cool and happening in the world. And if you don't see us, it means some AI took us down already. I don't think it's gonna happen for a while. So remember to check also Half-Blood, and if you're a developer, contact him or join the Northbound Discord where all the cool stuff is happening all the time. Subscribe, following, put a like on YouTube, put a like on Twitter, and support these two guys.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks, Dimo. Thanks, people. We'll see you on the next one. Deuces.
Jesus.